2020 was set to be another record-breaking year for tourism in Israel. But sadly, COVID closed the skies and borders to tourists. Now, looking ahead, we want to give you a glimpse of what a tour of Israel looks like in non-COVID times. This is the scene outside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. It's just one example of the many Christians making their way to the Holy Land this year. CBN News followed one church group on their pilgrimage. Many Christians begin their journey not in Jerusalem, but up in the Galilee, where Jesus began his earthly ministry. That includes this group from Virginia's New Life Providence Church.
Who knows, Jesus might have been stilling the storm right in this very spot. It certainly wouldn't be unlikely.
Pastor Dan Backens says coming to Israel means a lot.
As a pastor, what I enjoy about coming to Israel is, first of all, to see the excitement in the parishioners that come with me or the guests that can come along in our tour group, to see the Bible come alive for them and what God does in their own heart through their trip here to Israel.
Debbie Carter waited 38 years for her chance.
I have cried and wept and leapt for joy the whole time I've been here, seeing the many spots where my Lord walked.
Many others feel the same.
It's a life-changing experience, a life-changing experience. I would not have missed it for the world.
Like most Christians touring the Galilee, they also visited Capernaum, home of the Apostle Peter, and the Mount of Beatitudes, where Jesus preached the Sermon on the Mount. After the Galilee, many tours head south to visit the Dead Sea and Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. But for most, the highlight is Jerusalem, where Jesus died, was buried, and rose again. Here the group is on the Mount of Olives overlooking the city. The most meaningful thing for many Christians is the opportunity to walk where Jesus walked. For example, this is the path many believe Jesus took from the Mount of Olives into Jerusalem. One of those places is the Garden of Gethsemane. The Gospels record this is the place where Jesus prayed the night before he was crucified and said to his Father, "Not my will, but yours be done." For some, it brought home the lesson of the agony of Jesus in the garden.
I don't ever have to be in the Garden of Gethsemane pleading before the Father, because Jesus did it already.
They also walked along the Via Dolorosa, the traditional site where Jesus carried his cross on the way to Calvary, and also sang in St. Anne's Church with its world-famous acoustics. Their tour guide, Erez Bar David, has led thousands of Christians throughout the land of the Bible.
People go through a very, very deep experience, spiritual and emotional experience when they're here. I think it's just this deeper understanding of Scripture.
When you read the Scriptures, you're kind of looking at it in black and white, but when you come here, it just really jumps off the page. It makes the Bible jump off the page, and you're able to see really in color, wow, like this is real. This is really what our faith is built upon.
But is it safe? Many people don't visit Israel because they're afraid.
If I could dispel any kinds of fear about someone traveling to Israel, the media sometimes portrays the threat of terrorism and unrest. Israel is probably the safest tourist destination that there is, because everyone here, Arab, Palestinian, Israeli, Jew, non-Jew, they want tourism.
Israel's tourism minister sees evangelical Christians as much more than just tourists.
You are not the guests, you are partners. It's also, the Holy Land also belongs to you.
Christian pilgrims say there are many reasons to visit Israel, from the personal to the prophetic.
It's a real tangible way that we as Christians in the United States can support Israel in this very important time, not only prophetically, but in their national history, what they're going through too.
It's become an amazing personal experience for me, one that I'll never forget, and it's almost too much to put into words.
And for many, it's like coming home.
Alpha.